If you're serious about building a 8 to 9 figure business, if you're ambitious like that, and realize that retainer is actually capping your potential and therefore your life, then this video is for you, because no dopamine, none of that bullshit, just an in-depth breakdown of the math behind paper lead as well as retainer, and why 9 out of 10 companies listed on the fucking stock exchange are paper lead companies. None of the retainer companies will ever reach that type of scale because it's physically impossible. Right, and in this next 5 minutes, I'll just explain to you why exactly that is the case. Because we're looking at a business that it does $200,000, right? And maybe you will have a 45% profit margin at best if you're doing retainer agency. Typically, how it looks like is like 15 to 40% profit margin. If you're at 40, you're already an operational genius, right? And now with the use of AI, I'm not saying that's not doable, right? But you must be crazy good. I only probably know one guy on YouTube that does that. Is like, his name is Cameron England, absolutely cracked wizard. And specifically, a lot of it is going to be spent on your team, right? And the ad and media spend is going to, like, obviously needed to collect new cash on the front end, because you want more money coming in to replace obviously the churning retainer clients, right? Because it's impossible to have a retainer agency without churn. Essentially what you're doing is building somebody else's marketing infrastructure and whole business, and they just fuck off if they don't feel like working with you, and if they found somebody else that's better. And have you ever considered that you can actually, build your own marketing business and legacy instead of just slaving away for like some local business client who doesn't even know how to open a Meta Ads dashboard? But specifically in Paper Lead, right, what you're building is your own brand. Money Supermarket, all of these like 9-figure businesses, they've built up a Paper Lead ecosystem at which they can generate leads at scale. And if you don't know what the fuck it is I'm talking about, go watch my other YouTube videos. I have like in-depth case studies on how they're able to reach that type of scale within Paper Lead. But the bottom line is that you have so much cost. You pay like 40 grand in media spend, right? 12 to your sales team plus commission, client success, delivery and tech 8, and then not to take into account software is like 4 grand because you have a bunch of people, right? Your employees also need to get paid on their software expenses. Operations team is another 10 grand, specifically overhead and admin another 18, and then you're landing at 90 if you're lucky, right? Obviously accounting, I basically disregard it. But a lot of these like retainer agencies have a crazy amount of employees. You got setters, overhead, media buyers, maybe a software engineer, right? It just stacks up. And the crazy part is that you will have 80 to 150 clients to basically try to reach that scale, right? Each paying you around 2 to 2.5 grand, or 1.5 to 2.5 grand, depending on what type of industry you're in. And in comparison, why actually not use the same skill set you've already developed in retainer, right? That use that as a stepping stone and actually shift to paper leads to build empires, right? Because you're switching to selling, marketing, right, or customers to local businesses, or just like these home service businesses or whatever it is that you're selling these retainers to corporate giants. Now, this is something that's not really touched upon, because by the view count of this video, you'll also understand this is an untapped golden gem. It's still unsaturated. It's like SMMA in 2018, and specifically Paper Lead, right, has existed already down the line, right? Because let's face it, LendingTree has already existed for 20 years. HomeBuddy, a company that sold for $190 million within 4 years. The agency founders behind HomeBuddy, they started with retainer as well, but instead of you and I, they started 10 years back, right? And then they switched into Paper Lead. Now, specifically, this is insane, because scaling a company to $190 million exit it's been unheard of. But that's the power of Paper Lead, right? And you can also check out my video on HomeBuddy, because they did not even run their own ads and scaled to $190 million selling leads with other people's money. So if that's interesting, go check it out. It's on my channel. And what's really cool is that I scaled my business, right? I switched from retainer to Paper Lead like last November, and I scaled to, we're about to hit seven figures in profit within the next few months. And specifically, that only happened because I decided on the right market, right, the right industry to pursue pay per lead in, specifically law firms. If you want to, you can check out my vertical video. It's an hour of like pure paper lead like juice. It's gonna bring you to orgasm with the amount of value I'm gonna give you. And what's really crazy is that I just hired my first CTO like a few days back, right? And I'm not paying him like 3 grand. A white person you can pay 3 grand, but like that, like I pay him like a decent amount, but not 3 grand. So you need to take into account that I have 1 grand in fixed software costs and another like I'm not gonna say it, but it's not 3 grand in like basically team costs, right? I don't even have a VA. I'm looking for a VA right now. So like if you're in VA, just text me on Instagram. And I'm looking for a cracked editor. So that's all, right? And this is kind of the breakdown of the cost that you would need to run a lean pay-per-lead company. And if you're wondering about the software cost, I personally just spent $1,000 on my software, and I have all of the advertising research spy tools like 4Play, AdSpy, Get Hooked, Big Spy, right? All of them I have. So it's kind of unnecessary to pay so much in software costs. Usually it's around $500 to get started, basically. You don't even need a go high level, right? Or you can just get the lowest tier go high level. It's like $50 to have one sub account, because you don't need to be paying go high level $300 a month to manage like 10 or 20 clients or even like 80 clients, right? So would you rather actually slave away and have Slack blowing up all the time for 80 clients, or have 8 to 15 clients for which you don't even have client meetings with? There are no fulfillment meetings, because all you do is you basically have this thing where you send them data, customer information leads via API. That's basically the thing that connects laptops, if you don't know what that is. And they will send you a report back on a weekly basis or automatically on how many of the leads that you sent them converted into paying customers. And if the numbers make sense, they're gonna pay you more. If they don't, then you can go fuck off, right? So it's as clear, as simple as that. No fulfillment problems, none of that bullshit, right? Every marketing thing that you can sell to a corporate client, right, they've probably already figured out in-house, but they just need that volume of leads to keep growing, to keep scaling. Because unlike you, who think about like 2, 3, 4, 5K in profit, they're thinking about how to build enterprise value, because a lot of these corporate clients have private equity money behind them. So their job is to grow the company as much as possible, even lose money by growing, so they can eventually sell for an exit like 2 to 5 times more. Right, that's how they make their money at the exit, not like at the process. They throw money, right? Grow, and then end up selling the company for 5 times the amount they invested into. So that's how private equity and corporate companies, a lot of them work, right? It's an empire building move instead of worrying about these small things, right? So it's like some people I know in the industry personally, they've had a private equity reach out to them to buy their business, because it's such a lean operation with proven track record. Because essentially you're taking the skill set that you already have, right? Media buying as well as building go high level funnels, and you're applying it to corporate clients. Now you don't need to solve their sales problem, right? Build follow-up systems for them, like build, as I'm saying that, I'm like reminding myself to the times where I was calling people at 3 a.m. and getting like phone calls from local marketing business owners that were basically, calling me at fucking 3 a.m. because I had like one technical issue. But anyways, corporate businesses, they have a Wolf of Wall Street call center with 100 people. All they need is good leads, right? First name, last name, a bunch of other information that's specific to their industry. And if those leads convert into paying customers for them, they will scale to you to 6 figures, right? Easily, because they can afford to do that. They spend $1 to $5 million per month on their advertising. So for them, it's chump change. Now, take a look at the amount of clients, and take a look at the amount of clients for retainer, because I can guarantee you the difference makes sense, because corporate clients spend 100 to 1,000 times more on marketing than retainer clients do, right? And I'm talking about these insurance companies that have $50 million corporate advertising budgets, And yes, you might ask yourself, then why the fuck does he not hire somebody to build it out in-house? Well, they're capped, right? Because they have these corporate branding guidelines in which they basically need to run these corporate pretty ads, or they get sued, right? That's a big problem for them. So they're capped at their ability to run brain rot ads to get the cheapest leads as possible, right? So imagine all of this pretty branding guideline ads. You get leads for $100 because you cannot get it for cheaper. It's basically impossible. And then you go ahead and buy leads for $70. Okay, that seems like a logical. If you're the owner of a corporate company, right, that seems like a logical decision, right? And what's happening on your side, right? The guy who generates the leads, you're gonna run brain rot AI UGC ads, whatever it takes to generate that lead for $50 and send them for $70. If you're bad, it's for 50. If you're good, it's for 30. And then you can do the math if you're like sending him 1,000 leads per day. So what the essentiality is that, that's not even a fucking word. What the point is that a lot of these pay-per lead businesses already print so much cash that for them doing this guru stuff is just not really worth it. But I'm trying to attract talent to my business, and also I'm autistically social and I love to talk, right? So if you have questions, you can contact me on Instagram and as well as on Telegram, where I have the biggest pay-per-lead group chat in the whole world. And for a select amount of people, I will work with you on a profit share basis to scale you up to 5 to 10 figures. Did I just say 10 figures? Okay, probably not 10 figures, right? My math is like not mathing today, but definitely 5 to 6 figures within the next 6 months. DM me. I'll see you guys later.